is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good yawning this morning, and welcome back to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, your station for fresh news, smart talk all day. Sorry for the late start, but even I agreed we needed to let Mr. Jack Thompson and Mrs. Leslie Bryce Miller continue that conversation for just a little bit longer. The whole system, the whole country, our whole community runs on culture. And I'm excited about what we have to look forward to for the 49th Independence celebrations and the 50th Independence celebrations next year. Hurricane is coming. Now look here, you could always rely on Phil Stubbs. You may not be able to rely on the government, but you could rely on Phil Stubbs. After I woke up this morning and wondered if I was going to meet another mini storm, a mini hurricane in the road in front of me, I realized that we as a collective, we as a society are really cruel to each other, unnecessarily cruel to each other. We still, in 2022, look at people going through situations, problems, and we expect them to solve them on their own. Now, there's some problems that we as individuals create that we do have to solve on our own. You ate too much food, you got gas, that's on you, buddy. For thousands and thousands, for millions of years, people have been and have figured out how to eat with moderation, control their consumption for better bodily functions. That's on you. But there's some things that people cannot solve on their own. And we as a people, as a collective, we are derelict in our duties to each other. Now, you see, you could always rely on Phil Stubbs. Phil Stubbs got a song about every aspect of Bahamian culture. Phil Stubbs has attempted to lay down a word, to posit a thought about everything he thinks is important to us as a collective. And Phil Stubbs got a song about hurricanes. But how many songs about hurricanes do we have? How many songs and stories do we have documenting the lived experiences of Bahamians? And perhaps the most traumatic experience that the vast majority of Bahamians and people will ever face and have faced over and over and over again. And I was thinking about it. See, I know Get Involved. That's a song about community participation and culture and loving your country. Whenever you say, I need a song about culture, that's the song I go to. But how many songs do we have about hurricanes? And what does that say about us as a collective and as individuals? Well, let me tell you a bit of what it says. What it says is that our state does not realize the government, the powers that be, not just the politicians, but the political and social and religious leaders do not acknowledge and recognize their obligation, their duty of care. The state is a specific set of people and rules and policies to govern the country. They have obviously given up. They no longer even attempting to acknowledge their responsibilities, their duty of care. But how is it did we expect people to figure out how to deal with hurricanes on their own and on all levels, physical, financial, psychological, spiritual? Yeah, spiritual even. Today I want to talk just briefly about the Evidence Amendment Bill. Imagine, after the greatest hurricane event, the most devastating in our hemisphere, people of Abaco, Grand Bahama, were left to mourn on their own. They were left to figure out what the mourning process was going to look like for them individually and collectively. After losing thousands of people, that's my number. That is obviously not the state's number. That's not Dwayne Sands's I want to challenge the official number. That's my number. After losing thousands of people, the people of Abaco were left to figure out how to mourn on their own. Even that is something too great for them to have had to take on for themselves. The state, realizing that it had a duty of care to house people who were left unhoused or displaced after Dorian, put up domes, substandard, inadequate, not appropriate for the environment or the situation. To put up domes with no foundations. I mean, they didn't even create a proper park to house the domes. And now 2.5 years later, 2 years later, you telling the people they gotta go. You don't have a plan somewhere for them to go. We see the same thing happening on New Providence, in Carmichael. In fact, I want to talk about that. I guess we're talking about it now. On the 16th of June, I may be incorrect, but I think it was the 16th of June that the Minister of National Security announced that the people who are unlawfully operating and living on a tract of cleared land in the Carmichael Road area were given 14 days to desist their violations before authorities move in and take action. He iterated, that's 14 days from today, which would, by the article, I think, be the 16th of June. That means those people need to move out of there by the 30th of June. That's 3 days. What is the plan? How is it you expect them to be able to develop a plan on their own? This is a situation, a problem that is too big for one person or even a family of people to solve on their own. And it doesn't just stop there. The state has a duty of care to maintain roads, the physical quality of the road, but also the safety of the road. They're supposed to maintain an environment where you can drive your car safely without fear of being terrorized. Now, I know y'all think I'm gonna say by some picky, uncombed hair scallions, but that's not who's terrorizing us on the road. People with good, decent jobs are doing the terrorizing now. They are not afraid that even though they're not afraid that you could see the name of the company they work for, the identifying mark on the truck, the license plate. They could clearly identify who the driver was. The people don't care. But that's not something that I, as one driver, should have to solve, especially when you could wait 4 days for the police to show up at the scene of an accident. You could wait for never, like almost happened to me, to go into a police station to find out that a police officer and the driver of the other car colluded to change the names on the vehicles in the report. That's not a problem that one person could solve on their own or a family of people could solve on their own. On Saturday, it was an accident. We avoided a major collision. I gathered up all of my years of experience of playing video games, and I let Jesus take the wheel. We avoided a major collision. The two vehicles that were driving behind me, they didn't stop to see if people involved were okay. They didn't stop to see if anybody died on the scene. They just kept driving. I want to remind us as a society, there are some problems that people cannot solve on their own. It requires community. We look at a community like Pinewood Garden and we see there are some problems that people cannot solve on their own. All the community in Pinewood Gardens cannot solve the flooding issue in Pinewood Gardens. And even when people have devised solutions to their individual problems, we see the state jumping in and just being a barrier. I want to reference something I read from the ministry or heard this morning from Ministry of Education, Technical Vocational Training. The minister in the House was speaking about a policy that the state is looking to change. The policy says if you got 3 Fs in grade 10, no matter how well you do in grade 11 and grade 12, you can't graduate. I think that's what the minister said. So even when someone, despite all of the barriers in their way, figure out how to solve their individual problem and improve their grades, you telling me that doesn't matter? They still can't graduate? You know, they call that plantation model education systems, where punishing students is more important than them succeeding. Punishing them and keeping them in line is more important than them learning and becoming successful students and humans. See, this is why we have professional associations. This is why we have agencies in the government to provide oversight, right? To regulate spaces. This morning, as we were driving from the Eastern Road to Shirley Street, if you didn't know, now you know, the major roadworks going on, not just on Village Road, but on Montague side. So from Eastern Road or East Bay Street, where there's the entrance to the beach and the access to Village Road, both of those sides of the road are closed off. Traffic has been reduced to 1 lane heading east on East Bay to Eastern Road. But if you were coming west from Eastern Road to Shirley Street, the access to Montague Beach is closed. Now let me remind you, when you are on the Eastern Road side looking at Shirley Street and your light is red, even though the lanes to your right are closed, Village Road is still open to vehicular traffic entering Shirley Street. Now, I say that this morning, and a lot of y'all going to say, oh, Erin sounding a little too preachy this morning. This ain't for y'all. Y'all have good sense. This is for the man that was blowing and blasting his horn and bullying people to cross over their red light, despite the fact that there was oncoming traffic from the Village Road side. You, sir, are a problem. You are why we require agencies and regulatory bodies, because I would hate to think that you in any capacity are in charge of people, that you have any responsibility for training people. You didn't realize the road is only partially closed? But maybe you were one of those people who turned right on red at Shirley Street and Mackey. Just more and more people are doing it every day. And see, this is it. I know that the police are busy. But staying safe on the road is not a problem that I can solve on my own. It doesn't matter how well I drive, the state still has to do its part. Commercial and corporate drivers still have to do their part. Other drivers still have to do their part. See, I did my part on Saturday, and we still couldn't avoid the accident. We need everybody to do their part. I got a text here that says, Erin, morning, why don't you ever show respect for people if they PLP? She's not Bryce Miller, she's Miller Bryce. She's also either the Honorable MP or Her Excellency, please. In my haste to get the show started, I called her Bryce Miller. Okay, my apologies. Maybe I just can give her maiden name more prestige because it's her name. No disrespect to her husband at all. And perhaps you weren't in the room to see the honor and respect that I showed her when I met her face to face. My apologies. My apologies. But why'd you have to bring the PLP into it? You wanted me to say something. I'm not going to say it. That's all. But thank you for your text. If you want to talk about disrespecting politicians, we can talk about it in a second. Another text, Erin, the same thing happened to my son when he was in an accident. Nothing came out of it because some police are corrupt to the core. Listen, I almost get hooked up that day here. Almost. It's only privilege and the angel shining over me that somebody in that office heard my mother's voice in my own. That's it. That's all. So imagine the people out there that don't have that privilege. Imagine what they are forced to deal with. Another text, great show as usual. These people just can't drive because of all the excess consumption of fast food. These people have become socially stupid. There are some theories that you are what you eat. Our people do drive the same way that chickens move, navigate the world. Some of us drive the way that cows navigate the world. Some of us drive the way that pigs navigate the world. Text, I get back to that text. I think that is a great idea. So here are a couple of the things to talk about beyond what we've talked about. But let me just close that sort of little segment right up. The state has a duty of care to create an environment where people can solve their problems. People can navigate their lives with ease. People can make sensible, reasonable, practical, and healthy decisions for themselves. That's the state's job. And it's also their job to create solutions for problems that are too large to solve at the individual, familial, or communal level. At some point, somebody is going to have to acknowledge that if you are not in the business of solving our problems, then you're not in the business of governance, and you need to go take your resume somewhere else. Because the way that you guys are performing, is time for a pay cut. There's no way we could live in the country that's supposed to be the tourism leader in this hemisphere, and we're subsidizing people to come to our country while we are telling other people that they have 14 days to clear out of the land that they've turned into their own home. It's time for someone to take a pay cut. Dear texter, many of those someones are PLPs, and many of those someones are F&Ms. And some of those someones still cling to the DNA flag. But everybody in every aspect of governance needs to sit seriously and ask themselves, are we producing what is expected of us? Are we producing what is required of us? And who suffers and who dies when we continue to not do our jobs properly, but collect our salaries regularly and then demand more on top of it? That's the question that all of us have to ask ourselves. It's not just that there was this policy that 3 Fs in grade 10 could disqualify you from graduation. It's that we have not been talking about it and demanding a change. I haven't even gotten into the failure of the virtual learning platform yet. It's 2022, people. Where do you find the audacity to get up in front of the mic and tell people we didn't have the time to test it? It's user error. At what point do you ask yourself, am I giving my all? Am I giving what I'm being paid for? To students, you could be mad at politicians and governments all you want, but your duty of care is not to the person that signs your paycheck. It's to the citizens of the country that you belong to, that you serve. Producer, let's go to that call. Good morning, caller. You're on the clock.
Callie Day to this talk, voice along with you, Erin. Pretty eyes, Greene.
Good morning, Bremen. How you do?
I'm holding, thank God. But what I want to say, right?
Yeah.
Couple of things. Some of those people, especially the police, some of those polices, they need to not only take a pay cut, they need to get fired. Yesterday, right? I was at the central station, right, to make a complaint, right? And the lady, right, I'm not going to call her name over the radio, right, told me to sit down. I sat down, right? I checked my telephone to see what time it was after I sat down, right? Now, I've been sitting there without getting served for more than an hour. When one guy called me up, I told him about it, right? I told him I'd been there more than an hour. He asked me how I know the time. So one man say don't tell him, right? So anyhow, it happened so the guy was in charge. I told him, man, look here, I was in here a long time. I was more than an hour. He called me a liar. So it happened so that the lady who told me to sit down for a while, right? She was there. She came back in. So she didn't know I know her name, right? So I called her name. I say, she told me to sit down. And when I sat down, I checked my phone for the time. And it said it was 27 minutes after 3. And by then it was going for 4 o'clock. You see what I'm saying? So I explained that to him. So he was so, after he told me it's a lie, and I told him, I checked the time and the woman was right there when I said it to him, right? And, he haven't said anything, You see, but those people...
Listen, thank you, Bremen.
I said again?
I said, thank you, Bremen. I want to say something. I don't want you to be a part of the conversation when I say it. That's all, Bremen. It's unfortunate that people have to have these experiences when they go to the police. It's like when you are the victim, you're made to feel like you are wasting their time, or you are somehow the criminal yourself. Like you are bothering them, and why are you wasting their time? Which, to me, it seems to be the antithesis of the police's job. But more so, I don't understand why government refuses to focus on local government for Nassau. Because a functioning local government for Nassau could help the police resolve whatever the issues are they're having that cause them to treat the people that come to them for help like criminals? Maybe it is that the police are in such a heightened state that they only need to deal with serious matters. And we need to find some sort of community policing mechanism that could be launched from local government to solve other problems. Because quite frankly, the public is tired of being made to feel like they are the criminals when they come to speak to the police. Good morning, Central Station, when all I came to do is to tell you about... It's just... Is the state and its actors aware of their duty of care to the people? Is the political class aware of its obligations to the people? Good morning, caller. You're on the clock.
Well, good morning, Erin.
Good morning.
You know, I don't know if you've noticed it, but you're speaking to it. It seems that the morale in the entire country needs uplifting.
Yes, it does.
That's it. What has killed morale? And it didn't just happen. And I don't want to hear about it as the People's Time, New Day, or any other rubbish. What could we do? You know, it doesn't answer everything, but paying people a beyond livable wage would lift the morale, I feel, some degree. Let me explain. The U.S. is paying what on average now per hour?
With 15?
$10?
Between 10 and 15. I think 15 is federal.
Let's go low.
Yeah.
10.
Uh-huh.
So if $10 an hour is minimum wage, the least you can pay somebody in Miami. And everything here is double, basically. We should be looking at double that $10, $20 an hour. Now, my question to all the politicians, red, yellow, green, purple, I really don't care. I want them to call your show and tell me, how can we pay $20 an hour? That's $800 a week. Minimum in this country. What can we do to education? What can we do to the tourism product? Because we're very good at tourism. We were number one in the world. We were number one richest country in the hemisphere in 1983, based on all the money coming in, divided amongst the people, GDP per capita, according to the World Bank and IMF. We're still number 3. So if we're the 3rd richest country in the hemisphere, from the North to the South Pole, what can we do to get that money in the people's hands? So I'm going to let someone call you who's smarter than me. You know, the experts, financial experts, accountants, and everyone else, probably politicians. But those are the people who got us $10 billion in debt and don't know how to get us out of that.
Absolutely.
But we'd love to hear from them on this agenda, on how to pay the people, give everybody in the civil service a raise today. That would boost morale. Where would the money come from? Well, I'll call you tomorrow, and I'll tell you how we could not only double the salary of the civil servant today and pay off the national debt in a few weeks.
Okay.
So I want to hear from the experts, because if they can't tell you how to do that today, I'll call you tomorrow and bring you the evidence on how you could do it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I have a feeling the answer is somewhere in the Mining Authority bill. I don't know. Is this a mining other people's business bill, or is it a mining? Because I think we're confused about the meaning of mining, right? Some people say that there are criminal elements in the pine forest mining coal. But I don't think that's what mining means. Because I think what they're doing is they're making charcoal, right? They're making charcoal from downed trees. But mining is the process of, or industry of obtaining coal or other minerals from a mine, right? From the ground, from the earth. And so when I saw the Mining Authority bill, the first person I thought about was former MP Frankie Campbell, because he was the expert on mining. 6 months of the year, he mined his own business, and the other 6 months of the year, he stay out of other people's business. I was just confused. But I thought, if we're not mining charcoal from trees, what else are we mining? What else do we mine besides aragonite, other types of sand, and limestone? What else is there to mine but other people's business? So I can't wait to hear more from the Mining Authority bill. Should be very, very interesting. Most importantly, I want to make sure that treasures, gold, and sunken ships are not things that we mine. Here in the Bahamas, that's the thing I want to make absolutely sure about. I'll be very clear about that. Morning, Erin. They have hired 30 people in one ministry, and these people have nothing to do, but they want to give rich people a break. I could think of something for 30 people to do right now, buddy. We need to put 3 people in 3 cars. One is the driver. The other 2 are in the car on either side of the vehicle to document potholes, major hazards, and damage to public infrastructure that needs to be repaired. They could do that all day. They could send some of them to BPL, not to accounting. Obviously, there are too many people in the accounting room at BPL. To their transmission and distribution system. Because you could talk all the talk you want in the world. The solution is simple. You live in the tropics. The bush is growing every day. We know that y'all's not quite clear on that because during the pandemic, they forgot to make allowances for people who need to go and tend their farms, where they grow bush every day, or tend their animals, right? But the amount of people that BPL is going to need to maintain, not to repair, but just to maintain transmission and distribution system. It's plenty work to do out there. Erin, we security officers working so hard. You got to send me that text again. Texter. Somebody says, I bet nobody calls $100. Natural gas, LNG, and the oil is why we may be doing a mining bill. We found oil. What was the quality? We were never told. The $17 million in drones could identify every pothole. Could also be used to run a pilot program for agricultural security and policing in the southwestern district of the island. Text just says, Ms. Greene, are we ready for this hurricane season? Of course we're not ready. Of course we're not ready for this hurricane season. And don't let anybody in government tell you we're ready. And don't let anybody in government tell you you could have been ready. The vast majority of people do not have the wherewithal to prepare for this hurricane season. And that's a part of the conversation I was having at the top of the show. It's time for MPs and constituency officers to start implementing real programs to go into their constituencies and find out what people need on the ground to be organized and what the best communal strategies are. This is not the type of thing that you could expect people to resolve on their own. And I can imagine somebody in the AG's office told the government, look here, you can't leave these people in these domes in Abaco during another hurricane season, with a possible increase in storm activity. Like that's not just, it's not unethical, it's immoral, like it's a major liability for the government. I can imagine that happened, but somebody was also saying, yeah, but you need to have a plan on where you're going to put them for long term, the short term, a resettlement program, a displacement program. What you going to do, government? Anyway, producer, let's go to those calls. Good morning, caller. You're on the clock.
Yes, good morning, Miss Greene.
Good morning. How you do?
Not bad. You know, Miss Greene, we failed to build the schools, right, in a proper manner that can be used as hurricane shelters.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that can shelter the children that go to their schools, and their parents. You know, especially in the poor neighborhoods where the homes are not suitable to withstand a hurricane.
Yeah.
You know, and as well as we in this country, we let our churches, you know, to dictate to us our social, our health. You know, they all teach us this our prosperity, our gospel. All of them, every last one of them. You see, and they protect civil society on the way that they pay the poor people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and to Graham, you know, he put emphasis on giving the civil servants raises. Man, what about the private sector, man? Them poor folks who are ununionized and the like. You know, you know, it seems like only the gay people in media have concern about the needy people. You know, because I'm serious.
Listen, first of all, I'm the only gay person in media. Let the record show.
It's a show Saturday morning.
Oh, those young people.
They do, but they doing better than you because they got more time than you.
Yeah. Oh, they radical bad.
Yeah,
I
and
love
they
it.
refuse to give you the time.
No.
Or bring those people to a week. I don't know what they dealing with.
No,
Just
don't watch
because
nothing.
You're progressive, you know.
Yeah, man, respect. Don't watch nothing. That 1 hour, 2 hour thing. Look here. Yeah, don't watch nothing, caller. That 1 hour, 2 hour thing. That's a combination of sponsorship, and we need plenty voices, man. We need lots of voices. My voice isn't the only voice out there making sense. And it's best, the party is best when you got a bunch of voices together making sense. Can't be hogging up the mic. I guess share the mic, man. I'm just grateful for this opportunity to have an hour with y'all every day. That is overwhelming for me. Let's go to another caller. Caller, you're on the clock.
Erin, I want to correct something. I said 3, but it was 2, and I leave out it there around 5 o'clock.
I got you.
The police what time it was, right?
Yeah. I got you. Thank you, Brayman. Your point was made. Thank you, producer. We go into this break. Callers who are on the board, hold on. You could call back. Got to go to a break. It's been a full day. Stay tuned. 96.9 FM. You're on the clock.
Coming, it's so big and strong.
I used to think of the bank as my personal ATM machine. If I wanted a new car, new furniture, a weekend trip to Miami, no problem. Just max out the credit card or top up my loan. I was a big baller until I realized that 75% of my salary was going to pay back all those loans. Fidelity's personal financial coaching was the best solution. Fidelity gave me a plan with a debt consolidation loan that has a built-in savings that pays 5% interest. I now only have one low monthly payment, plus money in my pocket. Give Fidelity Bank a call at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit any of Fidelity's locations or visit a website at fidelitygroup.com.
Like what you're hearing on the show? Want to support the conversation? Sponsor On the Clock today. Call Janet Lees at 302-2304. That's 302-2304. Be the solution. Sponsor On the Clock with Erin Greene, where she dissects, we discuss, and you decide.
Hello? Keisha, you something else, boy.
Who this is? Tamika?
You don't even remember my name? Wow, Dread.
Girl, I've been so busy. You still planning your trip?
Girl, and I can't wait. I right here online booking my car.
You dare planning trip. You vaccinated?
Girl, we had to. We ain't been nowhere since this pandemic started. Girl, and we got a 14-day vacation.
Best vacation ever.
Girl, are you though?
Well, I know you was gonna get the vaccine because you too like travel. When y'all get your vaccine?
Girl, long time. Because you gotta get your first dose, wait, then get your second dose at least 2 weeks before you travel. Johnny get his vaccine and he 12. Even Grammy get hers. Child, and Grammy say she ain't get no money. But I see her hiding that under the mattress.
Child, let me send my list because I know you going shopping.
Keisha, don't play with me.
Vaccinate today, live tomorrow. A message by PAHO WHO, Canada, and US Aid.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Good morning and welcome back to Guardian Radio. Producer, that's exactly how it sounded this morning when I wake up. I was hoping it wasn't raining. Just because there's so much chaos on the roads when it's raining. Like y'all panic, don't know how to drive. You know, I guess you feel like you get to run the red light and the stop sign in the rain. It's okay. It's okay. Got a text that says, Erin, please ask BPL or Ministry of Works to come and remove the 4 young, fast-growing silk cotton trees on the corner of Easton Road and Johnson Road. These can be replanted at some parks, schools, or tennis courts to provide much-needed shade. If they are not removed soon, they will not be removed easily after another 2 years. Also, what I'm hoping is that there is a stage, right, when they're young, that you can remove them, because at some point you cannot remove them because silk cotton trees are protected, right? Silk cotton trees are protected. And so, dear BPL, if you're going to be maintaining your distribution system, this is one of the things that you're supposed to have in your tree trimming unit. You're supposed to have a team whose job it is to monitor roadways to ensure that protected trees are not being planted intentionally or inadvertently by birds. So that they can be removed quickly before they become a hazard or a major problem for your infrastructure. Texas said silk cotton is not protected on Village Road. Well, listen, I would have thought that the government would have published, right? Would have published the entire process through which they gave or approved the trimming or removal of that silk cotton tree at the Park Gate and Village Road intersection. It's a teachable moment. It's an exercise. It's an opportunity to work with your environmentalists and your ecologists, right? It's that opportunity. Anyway, producer, let's go to the call. Let's go to the phone line. Don't worry, Texas, I got you. Good morning, caller. You're on the clock.
Good morning, Ms. Greene. We're not being attacked by bad road drivers. We're being attacked by potholes and patched up roads.
Aye.
In this country.
I got you.
We're being attacked by, especially in Nassau.
Mm-hmm. Right, okay. And one of the questions I wanted to ask is, why are all the major roadworks projects going on in the rainy season? Why are people always patching the roads right before it rains? Are you not consulting?
If you'd like to make a call, please hang
the
up.
Met Office? And what is the agency that inspects and regulates the importation of cold patch products? And are we certain that the products being used are made and tested for this climate and environment? Producer, let's get to this next call. Good morning, caller. You're on the clock.
Erin, I want to give you the gist. The gist is I was the only person in there waiting to be dealt with. And I showed them, look here, I want to get back home before it gets dark because I cannot see. Okay?
Okay, but Bremen, I got you. I understand the gist entirely. Okay. It was a complete and utter disregard for you as a citizen.
Right.
Right. I get it, Bremen. Thank you.
And he gonna tell me if it get dark, it get dark.
At least he didn't tell you blind, so it don't matter if it dark, Bremen. Because I've had officers say similar things to me. I mean, I've had some officers say some things to me. Mind you, I've dealt with some really wonderful officers. I've had the opportunity,
beautiful, like Jeff Ferguson to Southern Station.
Yeah.
And Miss Smith at Southern Station.
Good officers. Decent. Yeah. Thank you, Raymond.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. It's so unfortunate because we all experience good officers, and unfortunately, many of us experience officers that are overwhelmed, stressed out, and need more training, is the polite way to say it.
If you'd like to make a...
I got a text here that says, great show. My birthday is on Sunday. Could you please ask the Prime Minister if he could make it against the law to have raisins in coleslaw, and also make it illegal to make guava duff with canned guava on July 3rd? Dear sir, I am agreeing with you. First of all, it should be illegal to make duff with canned guavas. In fact, we need to put the duty up on canned guavas 755%. That's what we need to do. Because guava duff is the Bahamian thing, but we don't act like we care about it because where are all the guava orchards? Where are they? They are nowhere. And I don't know who's putting raisin in coleslaw, but it's somebody who can't afford sugar, so we could be a little easy with them. Okay, text. A mindless driver drifted into me on my bicycle as he sat on the red light. He protruded at me even though his light was red. The fool almost knocked me. I had to shout the light on red. It almost turned violent. Yeah, man, I agree. I feel you. People are doing foolishness, and then they want to have the biggest attitude with you. That's why I'm saying this is not something that you, the individual road user, could solve on your own because you're doing the right thing. You could imagine somebody hit the back of me, ran into the back of me in traffic, and when I got out of my car, they jump out their car and ask me why I got out of my car. They wanted to start a fight because me checking my car is undeniable proof that they hit it. And they're going to pretend like they didn't touch anything. All right. Text Erin. Okay, this was the text. We security officers are working so hard protecting people, business, and property and can't get a decent pay. Not only can't get a decent pay, the last time I checked, many security officers are working contrary to the Employment Act. Some security companies are pretending as if they are uniformed forces and are not paying benefits or making people work 12-hour shifts and taking advantage of people who they presume are desperate because they may be involuntary returns, people we call deportees, or people waiting to have their citizenship status confirmed. Somebody said, raisins and coleslaw is thebomb.com. Your palate ain't developed, nor is it saved. Thank you, text. I appreciate that. All right, we touched on some of the things I wanted to talk about, but listen, that cannabis legislation, I heard the Minister of Agriculture, Marine Resources, and Family Island Affairs talking about it last week, and he used this term, from farm to border, from farm to the border. I would like somebody to correct me if I didn't hear it correctly, but I could have sworn I heard from farm to the border. And in those words is a thesis. It is an entire essay, and we need to delve into it because everything you need to know about the upcoming potential soon-to-be initiated or introduced cannabis legislation is about creating an industry to grow and export cannabis. From farm to border. Couple other stories. Mailboat runs aground to Fresh Creek. What y'all was doing on that boat? What type of party y'all was having before y'all get to Crab Fest? PHA refers alleged incident involving minor to RBPF. On the Tribune right now is a story. PMH child incident is probed by police. Equality Bahamas has called for a full investigation into an incident at the PMH involving a minor while it accused the institution of failing to maintain a safe environment. Gun violence escalates and no local government for Nassau. Imagine that. How can they justify that decision? Anyway, I'm all out of time. I don't mind. Morning Blend was having a great conversation this morning. It's always worth it when you're partnering with great radio show hosts and media personalities. Thank you to my producer. You guys, stay tuned to Guardian Radio all day. We chopped it up a little bit. Guardian Radio AM is up next for a little bit more. Have a great day.